Very good afternoon to everybody and a warm welcome to the 135th edition of the Global Weather and Climate live from Marfogan Weather HQ here in Evanton, Rossshire. How is everybody doing this fine afternoon? Are we doing well? Certainly enjoying a little bit of sunshine this afternoon and also a little bit more in the way of warmth, and that will be a sign of things to come. As we head through the course of this working week, we are going to see potentially low 20s moving in across the UK. Wouldn't be even surprised if we managed to scrape our first 20 Celsius even across Scotland during the course of this week. So we will wait and see as winds turn more southerly as that area of high pressure slides off to the east. So, a very good afternoon to Paul James. We've got also Nate the Great in this afternoon. We've also got Adam Blunston tuning in also. You know the drill by now. If you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button. It's absolutely free. And also hit the like button as well. It lets YouTube know that you're enjoying the content here on the channel. It does me a massive favour because it really essentially increases the reach of the videos and this channel through the YouTube platform. The sun is very, very bright at the moment here. Hopefully, it's not too dazzling for yourself watching in this afternoon. We've also got Jason and also Steffi Adcock tuning in this afternoon. A very warm welcome to yourselves. It's good to see yous, and I hope yous are keeping well. We've also got Lindsay next door on as well, so I greatly appreciate the moderators for helping me out on today's stream. We've got currently 20 concurrent viewers at the moment. I've had a nightmare of a time with regards to my website. marfoganweather.com has been resecured once again, and I've essentially been pestering the life out of my server net hosted over the last week or so. The monthly outlook for April has been released. However, I've lost some of the write-up that was included in that article, and unfortunately, in some shape or form, it's actually not the worst, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to play back the video that was released yesterday, looking at that article and what the various content that was discussed. But the problem is that I've lost quite a lot of both the graphics and the write-up. So I'm going to actually have to go back and rewrite essentially half the article, which is a wee bit frustrating. So in some respects, I wouldn't necessarily encourage you to look at the article because it's not complete. So that will hopefully get rectified over the next 24 hours or so. So it's just been an absolute nightmare. It's been getting an SSL certificate onto it, so it basically re-secures the website. There had been for a long time now a little symbol up in the top left hand corner of the text bar showing the website being insecure. That has now been fixed, but as a consequence of that, it has been a headache trying to publish articles, been trying to get images on, etc., etc. So the problem is that I'm very, very clueless when it comes to technology. I sound a wee bit like my dad when I say that, but very, very non-tech savvy, if that's the right way to put it. It has been a very stressful week, it has to be said, when it comes to the website. But thankfully, it looks as if that issue is now resolved and everything is in order. But I just need to go back in and add in what is missing from that article. So we've also got Jack Lowe tuning in. We've also got Richard Trott tuning in. Good afternoon to yourselves as well. That's a shame, Marfogan. I know you have been very busy trying to get everything sorted. It looks as if, Richard, things are now sorted out as of within the last 40 minutes or so, believe it or not. So it's been a bit of a scramble this afternoon to try and get that sorted out. I've been reading up and stuff that I don't know what I'm looking at, not understanding. Then I tried to do something on the back end of the website. It then kicked the website offline. Then I had to reconnect it through the server, and yeah, it's It's been one of those days, and it's been one of those weeks, it has to be said. I've probably been pestering the life and annoying the good folks at Net Hosted that are my server. So anyway, let's crack on then. I want to start off by showing you this video here from, who is it from? It's 9 News Australia. Very, very nasty conditions in parts of Queensland over the last several days. So we'll watch this video first up. We're also going to be talking a little bit about the earthquake that took place in Myanmar, and obviously the devastation that has been caused in quite a broad area of Southeast Asia, even including parts of China, down as far south as Thailand as well. The radius and effect of that has just been unbelievable. And even ground movement has been recorded even in the UK as well as Ireland. So that shake has rippled outwards across, pretty much across the planet. And, we've probably all seen the images on both social media and the news with regards to what's taking place down in Southeast Asia. Extreme heat as well. We've been seeing records falling in terms of the daytime and nighttime high temperatures. It has been a very, very tough time indeed. Jason's meditation journeys. It's absolutely glorious here in Ursha this afternoon after a proper blow last night. Tech can be challenging. Good luck, says Jason. Thank you. Yes, beautiful afternoon here up in the north of Scotland as well. I think many areas is enjoying the sunshine. It was a very, very windy last night, it has to be said. That is some of the windiest conditions I can remember in a little while, it must be said. We've also got Steve Chilton tuning in. Matthew, are you going to hop back into the garden afterwards? So good afternoon to Steve as well. So let me just see here if we've got anybody else tuning in. So like I said already, we've got currently 14 likes on today's video. If you are enjoying the content here, you like what you see, both give me a like and also hit that subscribe button. It would be much appreciated. Let's crack on then, and we'll watch this video out of Australia with regards to the floods.
To help as small communities in outback Queensland battle rising floodwaters. Let's go live to Today reporter Claire Todd-Hunter. Claire, locals are urging authorities to lend a hand.
Yeah, they are, Lizzie. For days now, local heroes have been taking it upon themselves to help rescue people from their homes. Hundreds of homes evacuated as these water levels rise in what's become a weather event, the worst that many of these outback residents have seen within their lifetime. Up to 2 years' worth of rain falling in some parts of Queensland in the last 5 days. At Navarra near Junda, a massive 518 millimetres. 399 mils at Trinidad near Quilpie and 471 mils near Longreach as well, with water levels only worsening overnight. The major flooding higher than the 1974 flood occurring already at Stonehenge and Junda as well. Also possible to be reached at Windora this morning. There are calls now for the military to step in.
Our trouble is our gas, to get our gas close to where our heroes out here come with rotor blades. The helicopter pilots out here, the mustering pilots, they're doing unbelievable work saving people's lives and stuff, but they've got to travel too far for our gas. We need our gas delivered close to where they're working.
Now, after days of the state's west and southwest copping a drenching from this system, it is now moving east and is coming over the southeast. We're getting rain now here in Brisbane. There are some minor flooding concerns just north of Brisbane all the way up to the Wide Bay region as well. We aren't expected to see the same impacts as what we've seen out west, though, now that the system is moving a little bit faster. But there are going to be, Leslie, some controlled dam releases from North Pine Dam did begin yesterday, and Wivenhoe Dam releases will begin today too.
Claire Todd-Hunter there for us, thank you. Well, as outback Queensland is lashed by record rainfall and flooding, locals are stepping up to rescue each other. Beef producer Jeff Lloyd was airlifted from his property, and he joins us now from Longreach in Queensland with more on the situation. Jeff, talk us through what happened to you.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks very much for having me. We were lifted out on Thursday. We got lifted to a sand ridge. Most of our sand ridges out there have gone under in this event. and they dropped us on the top of Sand Ridge, then went to rescue another person and came back and picked us up and flew us into Long Ridge.
Yeah, that's extraordinary. The pictures are just dire out there. Do you know how your home, your property, and how your livestock are faring right now?
The losses will be horrific. That homestead there has never been in water in 153 years, and I doubt if the roof's out at the moment. We're 2 metres over the 1990 flood. It's just, I've been flying and living on that river for 30 years, and this is nothing we've ever seen. That hanger's on top of a hill, and water's never been there. It's massive water.
We know country people are can-do people, and you've been rescuing each other, but there are calls for the military to step in here. What needs to be done, Jeff?
Our trouble is avgas. To get avgas close to where our heroes out here come with rotor blades. The helicopter pilots out here, the mustering pilots, they're doing unbelievable work saving people's lives and stock, but they've got to travel too far for avgas. We need avgas delivered close to where they're working, and that's our major problem at the moment.
Okay, well, let's hope the powers that be are listening. Our thoughts are with you and your entire community, Jeff. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Between two.
Okay, folks, I think you get the general idea of the situation that we're seeing in parts of inland Queensland. Over 2 years' worth of rain fallen. I believe it was between the 22nd and the 28th of March. So unbelievable conditions. Where the heck do you start? Looking at some of those aerial images is really quite eye-opening and devastating for the folks here. Relatively low population, obviously, but nevertheless, farms. Obviously, the chap that was speaking saying that the loss is going to be huge, and pretty remarkable stuff. It has to be said. A very good afternoon to Lisa Pattenden as well. Hope you are well, Lisa, and not having any power issues this afternoon like you have had in recent times, and you're keeping well, not working too hard also. So let me just see here who else is kicking about. So that's the situation down in Queensland, Australia, where we've seen tremendous amounts of rainfall really over the last few months. In fact, I think Townsville has also recorded its wettest spell on record as well, and pretty sad stuff, it has to be said. Let me continue to crack on then. We are going to have a quick look at the situation down in Southeast Asia then, with regards to the earthquake. And look at these scenes here. This is from The Sun, and I want to just play this here. So just pause it there for a second. Some of these images, most of these images that you're seeing at the moment is out of Bangkok, Thailand. Now, obviously, the epicenter took place near Mandalay, the capital of Myanmar. And Bangkok, between where the epicenter was and Bangkok, you're talking 630 miles in distance. Seeing tower blocks collapse, obviously under construction. Seeing, obviously, I've been to Thailand and I've been to Bangkok as well. And I think part of the problem with Bangkok, home to some 17 million people, the greater Bangkok area, part of the problem is it's sitting in a bowl and it's quite a marshy kind of sediment basin that the city lives in. And obviously you've got issues with sinking already due to the weight of skyscrapers and buildings actually sinking into the ground within the area around Bangkok. But the problem is that the earthquake took place about 10 miles, I think it's either 10 miles or 10 kilometers down below the surface, which is regarded as quite a shallow quake. The more shallow it is, the more vibration we see on the land surface, and that had a ripple effect all the way down to Bangkok. And because of the terrain that Bangkok sits on, it was made worse. The shaking was made worse because of that. And obviously seeing these buildings sway, we're seeing swimming pools on top of roofs, sloshing about, the water cascading down the sides of the buildings, and structures that have been and fairly weak collapsing or succumbing to significant damage as well. Now, the problem that we also seen was the scenes out of Myanmar itself is even worse than what we're seeing in Bangkok near the epicenter. I believe the death toll is at least 1,600 at the moment. That will obviously continue to rise, unfortunately. And I believe Lisa said that there's been another quake in Tonga. So I don't know much in the way of details of that, but thanks, Lisa, for letting me know about that. And 7.1 in Tonga, not common, just recently been reported, says Lisa. Thank you very much for your update on that. So yeah, another major quake has just been reported in the Tonga area, which is down in the South Pacific. I believe that's obviously the area where we've seen the underwater volcano back in January 2022, was it? I think that was the largest blast ever recorded on the planet. Paul Farwell saying lots of Saharan dust in Greece. Cars had a good covering. So yeah, lots of things going on. Lisa saying the last 2 hours, so very, very recent. Looks very bad. I feel sorry for them, says Frogs Legs Matthew. And Steve says a tsunami. Yes, obviously if it's happened around the island chain of Tonga, then that is going to create a tsunami. So an unfolding situation at this very moment in time here on this afternoon's live stream from a sunny northern Scotland, but the majority of the UK is in the sunshine this afternoon, and that is going to be the case as we progress through the upcoming week. The US Tsunami Warning Center says the threat of a tsunami has passed following magnitude 7.1 earthquake off the coast of Tonga, says Richard. So thank you very much for everybody's updates on that, and we will continue to monitor that over the next wee while. So we'll continue to play this video and then we'll move on from here. That's quite an amazing sight there. Imagine relaxing on a pool and then that happening. Terrifying stuff. You're probably also thinking that the building's going to collapse as well because of the amount of sway. I can't imagine what that feels like, by the way. Has anybody ever experienced an earthquake? Let me know. Good old adverts, huh? I think this is the water coming off a building. So that's probably a swimming pool that's came down the side of the building. That's the effects of it on the ground level. This is clearly a train. So Paul's saying that he felt a 5.2 quake in 1984 in California. So Lisa de Loma Prieta earthquake in 1989 she felt. Turbo Stream, we had an earthquake at Birmingham a good few years back. It woke me up in the night. Wasn't sure what it was until the next morning. So yeah, interesting reports. Was actually 2008, 5.2 in the UK, says Rich. Yep, he felt a quake only minor around 4 point something. Yeah. So I've been to a few very, very earthquake prone places. Sorry, I'm missing this here. 2 seconds. See what this lady is saying.
Well, I was just at the office working, and it's in the afternoon, so we were on a lunch break, and I was just at the office sitting here, right here, actually. And when it happened, everything's just shaked up all of a sudden, and I didn't realize, like, it was an earthquake, but then I realized it was not stopping, so I just, go under my table and put the cover and hide, and I just waited there, hold it. And feeling it, and it was a bit quite a while. It was over a minute shake, so it wasn't just finishing at all. It took the world to me. And after that, I just come out of my table, and then I just realized that it was such a big earthquake. Everything was shaking. My paintings, the TVs, everything was shaking. In Mandalay, it's so desperate. Mandalay is just 12 miles away from the epicenter, and the damaging of infrastructures, the buildings, the roads cracking, airport's tower was just falling, and the bridge, and especially the building damage was so severe, and people are just, they so shocked. People are just, desperate, devastated. And when I see the damage at the bridges and the roads, it was so huge. I've never seen anything like that in my life before. This is so severe, and Mandalay is nothing. We can't. The communication is down, so we have no idea, how our friends and families are okay or not. Yesterday, it was after immediate effect. The connection was such a huge problem, and we were just trying to have the information, from the news and checking out how it was. But we were so astonished when we see the situation in Mandalay. Everything is like gone, and people are still trapped, and the casualties and everything is still counting. We had our teams, our GO team, already on the way to Mandalay just within.
So yeah, pretty sad stuff, it has to be said. I'll continue to play this here so you can see the images coming through. Quite a few of you actually have experienced an earthquake of some magnitude or another. I've never experienced it, but I've been to a few places in the world that is of particularly high risk. Japan, for example, and also down in Bali, Indonesia. Some areas very, very susceptible to earthquakes, and obviously volcano eruptions as well. So obviously our thoughts and our prayers are with those who have been affected. It's now unfortunately into the thousands of deaths, many more injuries, many more people unaccounted for. So we're obviously mindful of that. Yeah, Mark, please don't keep playing the video. Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Lisa. So yes, let's crack on then. I think we've seen enough images and whatnot for now. So let's have a quick look at the global temperature anomalies. We're obviously just a couple of days away from the end of May. what month are we on? March. And obviously we are going to have a warmer and drier than average March overall for not just the UK and Ireland, but across Europe. This warm trend continues, and I reckon that we're going to have a warmer and drier than average April also. The problem may be that is all this fine, dry weather coming too early, and we're going to eventually start to see a switch around take place. Now, it's actually Aidan McGivern of the Met Office that made mention of the fact that, for the period for around about 8 to 12 months, low pressure and wet conditions dominated the weather pattern. It looks as if really since the turn of the year, we've seen, I believe it's something like, I can't remember the percentage. It was actually mentioned on the live stream on the Met Office back on Friday about the percentage of normal compared to what you would typically see for the first 3 months of the year. We're way down on what you would expect rainfall wise. I know many people have experienced a drier than average period, and it looks as if April is going to continue that way. But the question mark is, will that continue into the summer season? If it does so, then I think we could get some pretty hot conditions this upcoming summer, especially early on in the season. If basically we see the continuation of this dry ground, that then feeds to less moisture and evaporation of the sun, and then therefore we see the temperatures warmer. Theoretically speaking, we've seen it in years going by where you've got hotter conditions when you've got drier soils. The wetter the soils are, sometimes that can temper the extremity of the heat during the summer season. So we'll wait and see what happens. But this is the latest of CDAS 0.5. Again, many areas warmer than average through the month of March so far down in Australia. But you can essentially, it's quicker to pinpoint where it's been colder than average versus where it's been warmer than average. Central and Western China has been quite a cold March overall. Then the very far east of Russia, up in that northeastern corner of Russia, it's been below average, with the rest being firmly warmer than average. Some parts of northeastern, and I can't remember the name of the country just below Egypt. Is that Sudan? I could be wrong with that. Or Mauritania, I think it might be even. But that's been average to slightly below average there. And where else? Parts of northern Canada has been slightly below average. And then down across Spain, Portugal, into Morocco, it's been colder than average for the month of March. Let's have a look at Europe. And you can see here, this is through the first 30 days of the month, with 1 day remaining below average. But we've seen 3 times the normal rainfall down across Spain. When it's wetter, it tends to be cooler down across parts of Spain and Portugal as a consequence of that. Moving on then, let's look at North America real quick. In fact, let's look at Asia first and foremost. So really stands out that western and central area of China, firmly below average here. Looks as if Vietnam's actually been colder than average also here. Parts of eastern India below average. Much of Saudi Arabia below average as well as I think that is Iraq. Moving into parts of central Iran's been below average also. A little bit hard to see because of the amount of sunshine coming through here at the moment. I'm actually don't know if everybody suffers from, you folks suffer from prickly heat. I get tortured with that now and again, and I'm actually getting a little bit of that at the moment with the heat in here. In fact, just bear with me 1 second while I open the door here. Just bear with. Starting to get a little bit too warm in here, I'm afraid. You'll start to see my face getting all beetroot red. So this is North America then. You can see here areas slightly below average across the north of Canada, slightly below average across parts of much of California, in fact, as well as Arizona, southwestern portions of New Mexico is around average. Florida around average as well, but the rest of the country is firmly above average temperature-wise. Quick look at Africa, and you can see here the northwest corner is quite a bit below average, as well as parts of just the north of the equatorial belt, slightly below average, and then down through central regions of Africa, slightly below average here as well. Looking at South America then, and very, very standout, warmer than average across the interior of Brazil. Much of Argentina is below average. We've got Uruguay and Paraguay below average. Peru up into Venezuela or Colombia is below average as well. Moving across then to Australia, and essentially it's firmly above average temperature-wise, with where the wettest conditions have been, temperatures around about the average, very warm compared to average across Western Australia, South Australia, into New South Wales and Victoria, Tasmania. The North Island of New Zealand is colder than average, while the South Island is warmer than average. So that is the anomalies so far this month, with only 1 day left. This is the upper heights, by the way, of MetWatch. So while England and Wales currently seeing the driest March in over 60 years, Spain had recorded its wettest March by a long margin. Parts of London have seen only 2 to 3 millimetres. Now, this is obviously from a few days ago. This is back on the 26th of March. We have seen rain since that, but 2.3 millimetres of rain this month, while places in Madrid are now approaching 250 mil for the month. In a typical year, Madrid sees only 420 millimetres, so almost a half a year's worth of rain, in fact, fallen in this part of central Spain in just the month of March alone. So you can obviously see the deep trough extending from the Atlantic into southwestern portions of Iberia into France as well. There's the blocking both to the east and to the north, keeping the UK dry, where we've seen so much rain across the south. And I think this is going to be a similar type of pattern as we move into the month of April. So check out the April outlook in yesterday's European Outlook if you are interested in doing so. And I also want to show you what's been going on around the world. So let's move to Thierry Goose's Twitter page, and there's been certainly plenty of things happening at the moment. The coldest temperatures of the year so far, close to a global record, this by the way, for the month of March. In fact, let me go back. I retweeted off Maximiliano Herrera's page talking about the minus 75 that was recorded in the South Pole region. So exceptional cold in Antarctica. Minus 75.5 reached in the French-Italian station of Concordia. This is only 0.6 Celsius above the world record for lowest temperature ever recorded in the month of March. That's an interesting stat, actually, especially when you're seeing so many heat records fall at the moment. By the way, slightly back to the earthquake situation. Obviously, that had massive effects out with the epicenter in central Myanmar, but it sent seismic ripples all the way across Europe. And this is an interesting graphic showing the movement, with red dots showing a rise in the ground and the blue dots showing a sinking of the ground. So check this out here. This is obviously the vibrations caused by that earthquake in Myanmar and the effect it had on the ground across Europe, but also the UK and Ireland's included in that as well. So it just shows you, obviously, these massive quakes, how much influence they have on the surface of the earth right the way around the planet. Just incredible stuff when you think about it. So I just wanted to show you that because it really is interesting. I don't know an awful lot about earthquakes and the inner parts of the world, the planet, but nevertheless it does certainly fascinate me for sure. So let's crack on then. I want to show you, this is a fascinating one here, by the way. Yesterday, backdoor front moved through the New York area, and at one point was seen a temperature as high as 81 degrees, I believe, in Central Park, New York, while it was 35 degrees or 2 Celsius. So with a temperature difference of 27, 28 Celsius in New York, at the same time it was only 2 Celsius and snowing in Boston. But at one point we've seen a temperature drop of, I believe it was 50 something degrees Fahrenheit. But also at one point we've seen a temperature in Central Park of 26 Celsius, while LaGuardia Airport, as the crow flies, it's only about 7 miles. We've seen a temperature of only 8.8 Celsius. So that's a massive difference in just the space of 7 or 8 miles between LaGuardia and Central Park in the New York area. So really, really amazing stuff. That, and we've also seen a tremendous crash in the temperature also. So I wanted to show you this. A drop of 26 Fahrenheit in 1 hour, the largest drop ever recorded in Central Park. So the temperature dropped from 79 to 53 Fahrenheit inside 1 hour. Amazing drop that is for the New York City area. Let me continue to show interesting photographs here. I'm sure Richard doesn't mind, hopefully, me showing his capture of the partial eclipse in the Redcar area of Yorkshire back on yesterday morning. I think it was around 10 o'clock. Didn't see it here in the north. 2 reasons for that. I was sleeping in bed, but also it was wet and cloudy here across the north. Let me know if you happen to see the partial eclipse. I believe there is another eclipse next August that is going to be over 95% in terms of covering the surface of the sun. So that's going to be an interesting one next August if you're interested in that sort of thing. So let me just see some of the other clips from our very own Richard Trott. So yeah, nice capture, Rich, I must admit. Impressive, my friend. Let me just see here what else. Again, some of this footage coming from parts of Southeast Asia with regards to the earthquake. This was the scene here, unfortunately, coming out of South Korea, as well as record heat. We're talking about massive fires. This was the parts of South Korea. A sea of fire was captured. So Steffi's saying that is a demonstration of the classic P waves followed by S waves that ripple through the planet. Global seismometers pick them up so they can generate that 3D image. Hope that helps. Thank you very much, Steffi, for your input there, and also we can share knowledge. That is something that I really quite enjoy. As we obviously do these live streams as well, we can a little bit of interaction with one another. Sharing information as well is always very enjoyable and useful and very appreciated as well. So thanks, Steffi, for that. Also posted a quick video on X, says Rich. In fact, let's have a quick check of that. Let me just see here, Richard. There we go. Nice one, Richard. Thanks for sharing that, my friend. And also thanks for letting us know that that was on your Twitter page. Give Rich a follow if you're on Twitter. Always appreciate his contribution as well. So let me see here. Let's go to Weather Monitor because some very interesting stuff here. There's some flooding in Bosnia with homes underwater and more rain forecast for the next few days. So this is the scene coming out of one particular location in Bosnia Herzegovina. So yeah, kind of similar look to what we're seeing in parts of Queensland, it has to be said. So thoroughly enjoying this interaction with one another today. Thanks, folks, for your contribution. It's greatly appreciated because it helps me out as well, and we can look at things together. It's always enjoyable to do that. This was the scene, by the way, down in Argentina. Heavy rainfall has caused flooding in Comodoro Rivadavia. So 36 millimeters of water accumulated. So yep, that is the scenes coming out of parts of Argentina. This was Otoro in Japan tonight. Winter's last stand. This is amazing given the fact that we've just seen record-breaking heat. This is parts of Japan. I don't know if this is the Hokkaido up in the far north. So again, the big swings of spring, record-breaking warmth, then the last hurrah of winter. And it's going to be interesting, by the way, to see if we get any more wintry chill, despite the fact that we're going to see a surge of warmth coming up through the upcoming work week. It's going to be interesting to see if we get this a backlash, a last slap in the face of winter. This is the scenes. Severe thunderstorms caused flooding in Louisiana over in the United States. So yeah, a lot of areas seeing flash flooding at the moment anyway. Let's continue to look through here and see. So there's that report of the 7.1 magnitude earthquake. Obviously, they've discontinued the tsunami threat, I believe, according to the folks here. Do apologise, by the way, for some of these adverts coming up. I'll have a look into that with regards to trying to stop these adverts coming on during the live stream. That can be annoying, I must admit, when that happens. Let me just see here again some of these wildfire scenes. And then flooding as well, parts of Italy. So let me kind of round up by showing you extreme temperatures around the world. This is Maximiliano Herrera's page, climate stat expert. I want to just show you this here with regards to some of the heat records that are going on at the moment here. So obviously in the very, very earthquake hit parts of Southeast Asia, they're also having to contend with record hot days and nights as well. Exceptional heat throughout the tropics from Pacific to Indian Ocean. March records continue to fall. Parts of Thailand, Koh Samui, for example, 36 Celsius. The Maldives, 33.5. Palau, a record minimum temperature of 27.2. Hottest March night on record. Micronesia, also seeing temperatures close to 28 Celsius for a minimum temperature. So again, Indian subcontinent, we're seeing very warm nights in parts of Bangladesh. Temperatures 26, 27 Celsius for minimums. Parts of Asia, ridiculous heat ongoing here. Obviously a very hot, sticky part of the world anyway. But on top of that, we're seeing temperatures exceed records in this part of the world. And we're seeing very, very mild conditions both by day and by night. Record temperatures as high as 100 in Texas, mid-80s in Pennsylvania. More typical of June than March for parts of the eastern United States. And also very mild nights. Also widespread minimums in the 60s. Nearly 24 states, absolutely historic. This goes together with the Great March 1907, 1910, 98 and 2012 warm spells, especially for nighttime temperatures. I remember that 2012 March very well, because we've seen 90-degree heat even in the northern tier of the United States, but we also seen temperatures 22, 23 Celsius in Scotland that March. Hottest March day on record was set at least 2 times, if not 3 times, back in that particular March. So a temperature as high as 33 Celsius around the Black Sea, the Republic of Georgia, March hottest day in history for here. So remarkable warmth. Temperatures even into the mid-30s once again in parts of Turkey. Continue to play it through here. Like I said before, Japan, through the past week, we're talking about temperatures upper 20s, low 30s. Then bits with some areas seeing snowfall in the last 24 hours or so. So pretty incredible. Let me continue to skip through here and see Mediterranean heat wave. Incredible temperatures, 38.7 at one location on the Red Sea coast of Egypt. Crazy 35 in parts of Cyprus after a minimum of 20.9. Bear in mind, folks, we are still in March and we're seeing midsummer level heat. Is that a harbinger of things to come as the months go on? I don't know, but it certainly is and has been a remarkable month in terms of heat records. We also seen that back in the month of February as well in parts of Eastern Europe. So continue to play through here and see if there's anything else that I can show that stands out. I'm not really seeing a great deal here. So is that my signal to round up? Perhaps it is. So let me quickly go through some of the live chat before I kind of round things up. We've also got Suit tuning in. Good afternoon to Suit. So, well, we haven't had a warmer month compared to last year, says Lisa. No, that is true, actually, Lisa. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. And certainly it's turned out to be quite a dry spring so far. I'm curious to see what happens going forward. Let's have a quick look then at what we can expect temperature anomaly-wise over the next 7 days globally. We'll look at the rainfall anomalies also just very quickly, and then I will round things up. Have you enjoyed the content in today's live stream? I hope you have. If you have, be sure to hit that like button. Greatly appreciate that, everybody. Let's have a quick look at the CFSV2 weeklies then. And this is for the United States, so a major ridge of high pressure over the eastern US, trough over the west. Therefore, you know what's going to be the case. We're going to see colder than average in the west, warmer than average in the east. So let's have a quick look at the temperature anomalies over the next 7 days for North America, for the United States to be precise. So yeah, below average, northern tier, particularly the west, but anywhere from Texas all the way up to eastern Canada, we're talking about warmer than average conditions next 7 days. Precipitation anomaly, very wet across the east, a little bit over the Central Plains and also for the west. Moving across to, let me just see here. Let's move over to Asia then. In terms of precipitation anomalies, we're seeing drier than average conditions across Central Asia, wetter across the Central Med, up into Greece, Turkey, north of the Black Sea, also drier than average across Iran, into Afghanistan, Pakistan, along the Himalayas, into parts of Bangladesh, that would be Myanmar, also seeing drier than average, which is good news for the earthquake prone areas here. Eastern China, below average rainfall also, but probably with below average comes hotter than average. Look at Russia over the next 7 days, by the way, in terms of the temperature anomalies. So very, very mild upcoming 7 days here. Central Asia, also into the Arabian Peninsula. We're seeing firmly warmer than average conditions here. We've had a bit of a north-south split in the Middle East. It's been colder than average across more southern portions of Saudi Arabia, into Yemen, Oman, up into the UAE and Qatar. We've had some below average conditions here. Warmer the further north you go, up into Syria and Iraq and whatnot. But this is the upcoming 7 days. Cooling average across southeastern China, for example. In terms of the upper heights then for Asia, you can see that we've got a lot of ridging, especially into the Middle East. There's that trough delivering below average conditions into the eastern Med, Turkey, for example. So the wetter conditions underneath that trough and area of low pressure. Let's move across to our part of the world then and see what it's looking like. So this is the upcoming 7 days according to the CFSV2 for Europe. Big, strong ridge of high pressure. The anomalies really stand out in terms of that 500 millibar level over the next 7 days. Looking at the rainfall anomaly, and you can see here firmly drier than average underneath that ridge of high pressure. No surprise there. And with that comes warmer than average temperatures over the next 7 days. I wouldn't be surprised if we see 22 to 24 Celsius in parts of eastern England over the next several days. Wouldn't be surprised we could see an 18 along the Murray Coast tomorrow in Scotland, but we could see even warmer temperatures over the next several days. In fact, let me have a quick look at the temperatures of the Met model here. Bear with a second and we'll look at that, and then we will round things up there. So if I can find what I'm looking for, it certainly does help. Models. So let me see here what the Met model is indicating. So I'm not entirely sure. Somebody can correct me. If Gavin happens to be live at 6 p.m. as usual this evening, do check out Gav's weather vids. Always providing great updates and coverage. I believe he did another summer update in today's content on his channel, so check that out as well. But yes, let's have a quick look at the temperatures of the Met model here for the next few days, and then we will round things up then. So getting into Monday afternoon, you can see here temperatures are rising quite steadily into the mid-teens at the very least here. We've even got 15, 16 according to the model here on the Murray Coast, through the central belt and then down across England and Wales. But then temperatures jack up even further into Tuesday. We've got widespread. We've got 17 around the Kinloss, Elgin, Lossiemouth area, all through the central belt, and then England and Wales, generally the mid-teens, but we're going to be seeing warmer temperatures than that, by the way. This is into Wednesday afternoon. Looks as if the modelling isn't really, I think these temperatures are all underdone, actually. So, yeah, I think we're going to be seeing the first low 20s of the year so far across parts of England, but possibly even a 20 somewhere in Scotland over the next several days. But warmer, drier, high pressure looks to be the dominant player over the next week or so here, maybe changing to something a little bit more unsettled beyond that. But we'll wait and see what happens anyway. Richard says it's 6:30 tonight for Gav. So check out Gav, 6:30 p.m. He will be live as usual. And a massive thank you to everybody, to Richard Trop, Steve Chilton, Frogs Legs, Matthew Soot. We've got Steffi Adcock. And if I repeat myself, I do apologise for that. Frogs Legs, Matthew, Lisa, to Paul James and to Lindsay for moderating today's stream. Much appreciated. Turbo Stream for tuning in. Also, let me just see here if there's anybody else that I have missed. Hope you've enjoyed today's content. I know it's been a little bit heavy. Some of those videos have not been easy to look at. But I always like to kind of cover everything that's going on around the world. That is the whole point in these Sunday live streams. Obviously, a full week of content coming up here on the channel, the European Outlook back tomorrow. We're going to be looking at how warm this upcoming week could be. And also a thank you to Sandazoo93 for tuning in as well. So we've got 32 concurrent viewers at the moment here. So before you leave today's stream, if you could, it would be greatly appreciated if you just hit that simple like button. It is much appreciated. And if you're enjoying it, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And thank you very much for tuning in to today's stream. Thanks again to the moderators. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you tomorrow with the European Outlook. Bye-bye.